So we're live going this direction. We're live right now, by the way, 15 seconds. It's an annual meeting, so it doesn't really matter all that much as far as people's ability to watch us, like, set up. We're setting things up. Whoever's out there right now in La La Land, are you signing in right now? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Are you watching it? Okay. We are. There's at least one person watching. Here, let's do this. This might make it more aesthetic. It's pretty bomb. Hey, Jordan. Ah! Hey, what's good? Joe, come help me. That's too high, isn't it? Here, let's take this off. Like, shut off over here.
Let's go, man.
If you guys want to take chairs and like turn them around, that's cool. We got to broadcast this way because of internet.
Oh, works better that way?
Yeah, because we can hardwire. We don't need to do Wi-Fi. Us and just go.
Or do we just all move over there?
We don't want to all move over there. I mean,
See, it keeps coming in and out.
You just want to use my hotspot?
it won't be powerful enough.
No,
Are
it's
you
going
sure?
now.
I feel like it's going. I feel like we finally connected to the internet.
It's going.
I'm here and I'm live. All right, so the way we're going to do this, team that's here and team that's online. You guys ready? Hey, so online, people who are watching right now, I know we're having some internet issues here at the church, which is always a thing, I guess, but it should be working. It might pop in and out. What we're going to try to do is Mark has a computer open, and if you guys just if you're online watching either on a phone, just start chatting in the wherever the chat is. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, just throw a message in there so that we know that you're there. We're have plenty of people joining, so we're going to take just a second, and we're going to open up and we're going to pray. And we want to give you some info. And actually, online people, we just want to know that you can hear us. So type in that you can hear. People, Mark, will you type something in real quick just to make sure that it's showing up somewhere? Oh, there we go. I see Jinx. Cool. I see Joe. It should. So the way this is setting up, it should show up on the screen up here also.
From both feeds?
Yeah, from all the feeds. So, I feel like I see Joe is on Facebook and Jinx is on YouTube and the Boardmans are on Facebook and Adrienne Fazel. Oh, Adrienne, Joy. Oh, there's a ginger in the chat. I had this weird thought today. Do you think there's a church in America that doesn't have a Hannah in it? Can you think of, has every church that you've gone to in your lifetime had a Hannah in it? Well, use what yours will until Hannah moves out.
No, I don't think our last one.
The one in South Dakota?
Yeah.
Well,
And then there's another church of 10 that I don't.
Oh, see, there's got to be like a number threshold.
But how many churches have two Joes, two Joys?
Oh, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's 3 Calebs.
We do have 3 Calebs. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna give it. I know we're running 17 minutes behind from when we were planning on starting, but we got it set up. So, hey, so you're gonna run the budget part of it, right?
I'll do it.
You're doing that, and then I'll do the couple other pieces, and then actually, I know it's probably not great, but as long as we social distance a little bit, we're gonna give. I want to give the people online a chance, but we're gonna spend some time praying here. I don't know how we're gonna do that with them. Maybe we might just say goodbye online, or they can be in. Stop it, Leah. You're sitting right here. She's interacting. Super meta of you. And we're gonna spend some time praying. So online, people that are watching, we'll be very clear when that happens. But what the plan tonight is, we want to give a couple of cool announcements, some things that have happened in the last couple days, actually, that are pretty exciting, and then talk about some vision stuff and ideas for 2021, and then we'll go over our budget. Probably not in that order entirely. There are 12 people at the church right now. Somebody asked online. And so, anyway, let me open up in prayer, and then I'm just going to talk for a second, and we'll go from there. Father and God, thank you for our church. Thank you for being casual. Thank you for the ability to be flexible and the technology to be able to share and people to participate from all over the place. Lord, I pray that as we talk and do just go over the budget and do the business side of church for just a minute, Lord, you are honored in that, and Lord, that you receive glory. Thank you for this time. Thank you for the people who are here. Lord, I pray that we have a great night, a great bit praying and talking and dreaming together. And so, Lord, be here, Lord. We ask your presence is active. In Jesus' name, amen. So I want to start out just a little bit and give a kind of the way that annual meetings work. I've never been a fan of. It's where you bring up all the different ministry heads. They give a report of the year, say what happened. And in a church our size, it's a little bit just redundant. Everybody knows what's going on. But we do have to do that officially. And so for people who are listening and for people who are here, if you're a head of a ministry, which I'm looking around going, we have a deaconess leader here. We're going to need deaconess reports, deacon reports. That's going to come, but it's not. We're not going to worry about it until after the first of the year. So those reports, and there'll be an email that goes out, and we'll put together our packet, our book that goes in the official file. Usually those things get read at these type of meetings. Also, from a business standpoint, we probably will come back and have like a semi-annual meeting where we do elections. We probably need to do one election and fill a couple of positions. It's a chalk it up to 2020, chalk it up to it was a bizarre year, a hard year, a different year for all churches. So that business side of it, we just didn't get around to, and we'll come back, and at some point we'll do that to where we'll actually. I think we need to add or do some sort of. I think we wrote it in that we have to do an election every year or whenever the board sees fit, and we wanted to get on a cycle. So that'll happen at some point. Not sure when. Maybe May. Maybe June. Some sort like 6 months from now when we get through. When everybody gets their vaccination. Just kidding, people. So let me tell you about something that's pretty awesome. Something that's exciting. In August, I got a letter that went out to all the churches, all the Alliance churches in the nation, talking about the DREAM incentive. And it's a grant that the national office gives out to churches who make a compelling argument. And I told the board that I was going to fill it out for our building. We have this fantastic 20,000 square foot building, and we need to put in a couple of things into the building so that we can use it for the community. Right now, we can use it for ourselves. We can use it for the church. We can use it as a church function, but we really can't bring in organizations like CEF, like other public organizations like Boys and Girls Club to come and use our facility. We have this great place, lots of rooms, and so we can't be a community connection at this point until we get a few things fixed. So one of the things that I did is I was like, let's fill out this grant. It's for $30,000, and to help us raise or add money to our building fund so that we can add the fire suppression system and some of those different things that we need to do. Well, on, what day was it, Monday? Monday, I got a letter from the national office that we received 50% of the grant at Casper Alliance Church. So we got half of the full grant. They sent it to us, and it's going to be coming. So we received $15,000 for us to use in our building. And they want to know the story of how that progresses. They want to know how, like, what we use and how it begins to play itself out. That is exciting stuff. That, along with the money that was raised in excess for the roof, we have a really great start on getting this fire suppression system put in, hopefully by the summer. So you'll hear more about that when we get bids and everything kind of put together. Here's the big number we will tell you, but we already have seed money that's sitting there ready for us to begin to go, yes. And that is awesome. So the national office, I'm not sure how it was decided. I do know that our district had to be involved, and they did some background checking on us as a church. They did some checking on me as a pastor. I mean, they're just not throwing $15,000, $30,000 at some random organization. What's that?
In spite of all that.
In spite of all that, we got it. So our district superintendent, Jonathan, sent me a nice message saying, this church is amazing, you people are amazing, the core of this church is incredible, and the national office loves what's starting to happen here in Casper. So they've watched, I guess, online, they've seen what we're doing, and they're excited. So that's some exciting stuff, and we're going to be talking about that more coming up with what we need to do to raise to get it done. And we hate keeping like double and dipping and saying we need to raise more money, but we really, in order to bring in and have an evangelistic arm with our community, we need to get it done so we're legal. So the state or the city goes, that place, they can have whoever they want, whenever they want, and however they want in their building. So that's exciting. I don't know, what do you say?
He's just as good.
You're like, you just got to use your words. It's okay. It's a free-flowing meeting. All right. Another thing that's exciting for the church that we've launched is we have an app. We have an official app in the App Store, a Casper Alliance Church app. So you can go to the Google Play Store, you can go to the App Store, you can go to Amazon. It's there too. And we have an official app that's our brand, our everything, that eventually will be you'll be able to watch our services directly on. We won't have to run through YouTube or Facebook. It'll just be us. So we don't have to be managed by anybody else or regulated by anybody else. We get to just produce it and do however we want, and that's coming. But as part of that, and this is one of those big announcements, if you're giving online right now, that system's going to change. It's going to change at the end of the year. Now it'll be Stripe again, so if you've set up an online giving account with the church, it's the same third-party organization, but it's going to be funneled through the people who are helping us manage the app. That way we can give online through the app, and it's just going to be a new system. I need to give you that warning. It's coming. At the first of the year, the online giving will change. All of you online givers, that's going to happen. Now, we will still receive funds through the box right here if you write checks. But for online giving, that's what's happening. You have a question? Yep, right. So what's going to happen is at the first of the year, after the end of year giving, for anybody who does end of year giving, that sort of thing, that system's going to be shut off. Now we'll allow it to kind of like get everything through process, but it's going to shut off. So if you have an automatic withdrawal, that plan on that being shut off, and you're going to have to set it up again, and it'll look very similar, just like you've done before in the past with our current giving system. It'll look almost identical. But we have to set up a new one because we're going to run it through our app, and we actually have a new website provider as well because of that. So everything is kind of new from a digital front, and so that's in process. And like I said, we'll run everything through the end of the year, and then allow just a few, I don't know, a handful of days. Maybe Jinx, you're at home. You can give us a timeline by how long until we shut that off. The question, Adrienne, was if you have an automatic giving withdrawal, what happens? Is that a good way? Yeah, and basically we'll shut that off and it'll automatically stop, I believe. I would encourage you to be proactive on that and maybe just shut it off yourself. give your last end of the year $200,000 gift that you're used to giving, and then shut it off. You can be proactive in that. I don't know what happens in the system but it's going to get shut off. So, any other questions on that with the online giving? Okay. I'm going to ask Mark to come up, and Mark's going to go over like the business side of the meeting. You also want to give an announcement too about your life, which is exciting. And I will manage the chat.
Okay.
So Mark's going to do budget.
So I do my announcement first, though?
You should do your announcement first.
Okay, so announcement first. This is so weird. Of course, I did this all day today, staring at a computer screen,
sorry.
talking to people, but there's no one looking back at me. So we got good news in our house this week, and I wanted to share that. You all have been praying for my wife for a long time. And like 6 months ago, they put her on this brand new fancy chemo that is going to make her blind, but is going to do amazing things for her cancer. Well, it didn't do that. It just made her so she can't see. And so after several months of that, the doctors were like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. So we're going to start you on something new. And it was a drug that she'd been on before and a new one. And they were going to combine it. And they've never done it before. So it's every week, it's a shot and a couple pills and some steroids that totally make her crazy. She got all of our wrapping done last night between like 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. I woke up and there was all these presents wrapped under the tree. But the news is that she had this tumor growing on her sternum. Right here, that had gotten to the point where you could see it. Like, if you were looking close, you could see this thing growing on her chest. And that was concerning to everybody, including us. So she went in for her first week. This was three weeks ago, I guess. Her first week, she had the shot. She took the pills. After like 4 days, she said, you know what? This is feeling smaller to me, but I don't want to get my hopes up. And so we're just going to go with that. So she went in the second week and did the shot and took the pills, did the steroids, and they took some blood. Well, she went and saw the doctor yesterday, and the doctor comes in and he's like, I've wanted to talk to you for the last 2 days. And Beth is like, I wanted to talk to you. So bottom line is they have this blood number that they watch on her, and it was getting higher than it had ever been. And it was up to 70, which will mean nothing, but it's higher than it's ever been. After 1 week on the medicine, when they took her blood, it had dropped to the low 20s. And he thought it was a fluke. It was something wrong with the test, and he was going to rerun it until he came in and saw how much this thing on her chest had reduced. So he swore and then said, it's basically a miracle, and we're going to keep going on this medicine. So yay God, woo! So that was exciting. So thank you for praying for that, and keep praying, please. And if you need stuff wrapped, drop it off after 11. Sorry, Beth, I know you're watching, but if you bring it by after 11 on Tuesday or Wednesday night. So that's kind of the window that we have to work with. Okay, business side. The budget is here. You all have it. I know Jason sent it out a couple days ago. I don't know how many of you had a chance to look at it. It's really pretty straightforward. We didn't change a lot this year. Basically, what we did is we looked at actual expenditures over the last year from what we had budgeted the previous year. And if there was stuff that was way out of wonk, we adjusted it to make it more realistic. We had to adjust some stuff with some technology things and those kinds of things that we hadn't anticipated because of the unprecedented times that we live in. And so there's really not a lot of anything super crazy in here. And I guess essentially our proposed budget is $25,000 more than it was last year in rough numbers. And so, and it's kind of been spread over. We tried to, address things that were ministry and make sure that we were covering our utilities correctly. As you all know, it's expensive to heat this building. So, we tried to make those numbers match up. But other than that, I mean, honestly, unless someone has a question, I don't have a lot to say about the budget.
I do want you to explain missions giving. So you should repeat what I asked online. So just
Okay, Jason wants me to explain missions giving.
Yeah, because we did alter that pretty significantly.
Yeah, we altered missions giving, and essentially, and it's the 6,000 section. It's at the bottom, toward the bottom of the budget, and essentially what we did is we've had our tithe to the district. We call missions giving. That doesn't change. That's just a 10% of our income. Our missionary support, essentially, we have some missionaries that we've been supporting for a long time. And as a board, we decided, we hadn't heard from some of these people. Some of them, we don't feel like their ministry was really accomplishing kind of what our goals as a church were. And so we stopped supporting a couple of them. But then we added a line on here that we're calling kingdom work. And essentially what that's for is that gives us money that we can support things that are going on here in Casper or here in the district that we feel like they match up with our values, they match up with our kind of our vision for what mission should be. And so that's kind of the biggest change in there. How was that?
That's good. We do need to give space for people to ask questions,
Yeah.
especially online.
So if anyone has any questions, this is your chance. You can shoot them here on the chat, and or if you want to send me a text message, whatever works. So does anybody here, I guess, in the present room, here in this very room, have any questions? As Jason mentioned earlier, the way our Constitution works is the budget's already been approved. We just present it to everybody for input and comment. Our fiscal year officially begins October 1st? November 1st. And so we've actually been operating for 6 weeks or so underneath this budget for what that's worth. Marie Scott.
So the idea is with the missions that we are essentially redistributing funds and giving to missions work that we feel is relevant to vision and mission that's part of our heart. Whatever God is leading. So there's sort of openness now to be looking for ways to invest in missions locally and abroad as a church in things that
Yeah. So essentially, what Marie asked is clarifying on the missions giving is we are taking those monies and having them available to redistribute as we see stuff that fits kind of our model and our vision. I mean, this could be short-term missionaries. This could be, it kind of opens it up to a lot of stuff. And we just felt like it was a little bit better for us, a little easier for us to be able to support some things that need some support and help them out.
some people it's just something praying about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did have a rationale. It had a lot to do with communication. And I don't know, I think that Zach and Kelly are to the left, right? And they sent us reports and communicate with us. And it wasn't even because they're related to the mark at all. Because we put everything on the table, and that's kind of the rationale we set. was who's communicating what they're doing, who's trying to continue to have a relationship with us, and it's not just one way where we're sending checks. Because we want to be invested in whoever we're going to be giving funds to. And we also, again, we do want it to fit our mission, vision, values here at our church. And it's not that they did, but it needs to be clear that it does.
When that report comes from the missionaries that we are supporting, where is that available to?
Yeah, so we've been putting it on the board out here. And what I think we'll do a little bit differently is we'll put it into a digital copy. Actually, I'll probably ask Zach and Kelly to send us a digital version of it, and then we'll load it into the website for people, so that there's a more like, or the app, so there's a more like public way to look at. Here's who we partner with. Here's who we love. Here's who we care for. That there needs to be a better way to do that, and so that's part of our future aim for missions. We want to grow that area of our church.
Well, I think the other part of the discussion, the other part of the thought process there is we want to be creating missionaries and sending missionaries from here as well.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is we want to invest in that program locally. You know what I mean? We want to be mission oriented. We want to send missionaries. We want to do short-term missions. We want to do things of that nature. And so and so we want that's one of our key focuses or key investments is leadership. And that was a big part of it as well. The other thing is it's very much a discipleship process for individuals to give where they feel led. So we're not saying that, even individually as leaders, if we want to give to some of those people, that's important. You as a congregation, you may have connection with those people. It's important for you to give to them, as a disciple, right? So that's the other concept. You guys want to give more to them, personally, whereas, we're just being money makers in ways, taking people's money, giving to organizations,
Let's let Mark try to.
Yeah,
encapsulate what-
So for those of you in the hinterlands, so big long discussion here about this whole missions thing, and essentially what kind of spurred this is kind of the relational aspect of what we're trying to do here at the Casper Alliance Church, and we're trying to support ministries and to support people that we have some relationship with. And also what that could mean is that we're trying to develop missionaries here within our body. And, this gives the opportunity. Those are your grandchildren, Daiweeby. This gives the opportunity for, and maybe some others. This gives the opportunity for us to support, people here from within the church who may be going off on short-term mission trips or who want to start pursuing a future missions focus type thing. It just gives us some opportunity to help those people out. So, any other questions? But the noisy kids are also incredibly adorable. I'll just throw that in there. Any other questions?
Anybody ask anything online at all?
Nobody has asked anything online. Leo Weeby.
So is notice the change with the district conference general council, is that for like elders and stuff like that? Because it went from 500 to 3,000.
The district district conference general council, that essentially it's in Ohio.
It's in Nashville.
Nashville. It's in Nashville this year, and that's basically money to send the pastor and his wife at this point as delegates to the general council. We try and send them, if not every time, at least every other time, to just kind of. And there's some stuff coming up at council this year that we just thought it'd be good to have someone there to have their eyes and ears on it. So.
Okay. Because typically the 500 is like a budget to send every other person.
Yeah. Because a lot of times what that's for is like district conferences and billings, and it's like a day and a half long, and so it's pretty easy. It's pretty cheap for them to drive up there and stay in a hotel and pay for some meals for $500. But when it's in Nashville, that the travel gets a little more expensive. So
Yeah, I know this year might be a little cheaper.
I'm wondering if they're going to have it.
yeah, well, and that's the thing, and it may not happen because it's usually in the spring.
His wife at this point, I plan to still be his wife.
At that, oh, well, that's good to know. That's good to know, Adrienne. Of course, at some point we were wondering maybe he may not make it till that point, but we'll go from there. Leah, yeah.
And then for the, like, what, do you guys have things planned for the all church event? Is that one going up too? Just curious.
So we put, do you remember we put camp into that?
Yeah.
And we hadn't really budgeted for family camp at this point. We're trying to make it legitimate. So one of the things that has happened here, we throw a budget against the wall, and we don't really abide by it. We just try to survive by it. And we're going to try to do a little bit better of abiding by the budget. And we haven't made a line item of family camp at all. And it costs the church $1,200-$1,500 every time we do.
Yeah, $1,200-$1,800. Yeah.
So
So
that's what that's set at.
if you're wondering out there in the hinterlands, we're talking about the line item for all church events, and it went up significantly this year. But we have not previously budgeted any money for family camp, and we've just kind of absorbed those costs out of other line items and money that we had laying around. So, but in an attempt to try and be as responsible as possible, we actually added the appropriate amount of money in there to kind of cover the church's expenses for that.
So with that, if there's a ministry developing or whatever, what is the way that someone would request budgetary
If people want to request money for ministry,
Yeah.
Basically, if there's a ministry that's starting up and we need money for it, it's be talking with the elders or the board members sometime around June, because with our fiscal year starting in October now, we start doing our budget in August or September, and
Yeah, hopefully this year we'll send out papers to all ministry heads. We'll kind of have a better structure so people can start to create it. I think the heart of what you're getting at is like, what if there's some new initiative that you come up with?
Yeah, and I've just thought about how St.
Sure.
If
If we're not dropping $20 a month, yeah. So in that sense, those are things that we need to be like beginning to put in the women's ministry and start to fund that. And so that's part of being organized. It's part of like having some forethought, and that needs to get done this year. So I think in June we'll send that stuff out. June, July, towards between Jinx and actually Donald is going to be an assistant treasurer. We'll kind of get it organized and push that out to everyone, and then there'll be a month or two of collecting and gathering.
yeah. So basically, the discussion there was, in the future, if we have ministries that come up or are being developed or are currently not looking like they're being funded enough, what's the process going to be? And we'll start, looking at processes for next summer to start collecting information on those kinds of things. Yes, Mrs. Weeby.
So did we added a line for softball in the church ministry?
Yes.
We just forwarded
Oh,
I was going to say, I think we had that line before.
oh, we did.
Yeah,
it. We did.
yeah, we just kept it
That's funded.
in case they have softball this year.
That's true.
Any other questions? Anybody out there in the universe have any questions? If not, I'm going to make one closing statement. I'm going to figure out a proper, vague way to say this. As you can see, we did not include an increase in salary for the pastor this year. But in talking with the pastor, the board approved essentially a year-end bonus as a thank you gift from the congregation. And so we chose to bless them that way. A lot of churches will do an offering which aren't really legal, and a lot of things that kind of way. And so but I just wanted to throw that out there to let everybody know that we as a board appreciate Jason and appreciate Adrienne and their family for the work and the blessing that they are to this congregation. And we just want to let everybody know that we are showing our blessings to them. How was that for vague?
Yeah, it was fine. I was
Okay.
concerned for it.
Yes, Denise.
So you're saying is it illegal for churches to take an offering?
Technically, a church can take an offering for a pastor, but it's illegal for you to claim that as giving to the church.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
It's a weird IRS loophole that, there have to be designated funds, and and there's a whole bunch of whatever that most churches don't really ever follow. So
We tried.
so theoretically, they're not legal. So
We feel very blessed.
okay, with that, any other questions about this or any other basic kind of churchy, businessy type things that I can
But
try
you
and
wanna
cover?
give any sort of update on elder board, how we meet, that sort of thing? Like, I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, essentially right now, and things admittedly in 2020 were a bit goofy with quarantines and all that kind of stuff, but we essentially our current meeting schedule is supposed to be that we meet as a board 1 month, and then as an elder board on the alternating month. And so the elders meet every month because they're members of the board, but then the actual governing board just meets every other month. Usually, until we have to put together a budget, or we have to have a meeting about the roof, or we have, there's a bunch of other crazy stuff that comes up, they end up having special meetings on. So, and for those of you, in case you don't know, currently the elders are myself, Aaron Kudlak, John Wiebe, Andy Bartosh are the 4 elders. The other members of the board are Joe Scott, Chris Bird, Jinx Clark. And then Jason obviously sits on the board as well. So, Jinx wanted me to also mention that although we can't take an offering for the pastor, if you would like to give his family a direct gift, that is legal and appreciated probably, but keep it nut free.
That's true.
So I'll just throw that out there.
No, no.
So if you make those saltine cracker things that I saw the video for today, saltine crackers and brown sugar, don't put nuts on it. Anyway. Anything else? Any other questions? Anything else you want me to cover?
There's probably so much we could go over, but
Yeah.
we need to do a couple of other just kind of here's what's happening, here's our goals that we're kind of to get done, and just put that out there for kind of things we talked about the past.
Yeah.
You want me to do that?
Sure. Okay.
And then we're gonna go do some prayer time. And
I'm out. Jason's coming back. Watch out.
Quick update. We're at 37 minutes in. Quick update on some of the things that's happened in the building. Bob has worked like crazy the last 2 days, 3 days. Today's Wednesday. 3 days. We haven't had heat here. They had to take a pump off, and it's just been kind of wonky. But I think they got it fixed and working. And so Bob has been incredible. Now here's the request, and this is for public record. I'm going to put it out there. We need some people to step up and start to like take knowledge from Bob. Because Bob admittedly said, I'm not going to be around forever. and we right. And so his vast amount of understanding for how the building works, he needs to pass on, and he wants to pass on. And so we just need to we need to continue to add people to that pool of guys, and it's that can just check the build, especially wintertime. From like October to April, that's the season. That's the zone in which we really need this church, this building needs the most help, just to make sure that everything's working. Because one bad night, when it's 20 below, and the boilers for some reason shut off, and it's a Thursday night, and I'm not here Friday because it's my day off, and there's nobody here Saturday and all of a sudden we get here Sunday morning, and we have a huge mess. We just need, those are the kinds of things that we need to begin to be more attentive to, and impassioned about, and not just let somebody else do it. So that's kind of a culture of issues with churches our size, that 80 to 120, 130 we struggle with. So it's just always got done, and I'm busy. We need to be more attentive. And attentive kind of needs to be our word of 2021. Attentive to all of the things. And not just building, but attentive to ministry, and attentive to people, and attentive to our neighbors, and being attentive. So a couple of things I just want to throw out that are vision ideas, and things that we need to do in this church to really take some next steps for us to produce a high-level quality connection point on a Sunday morning. We're going to be investing in a new camera. Right now, the Fazels are donating their camera every Sunday morning to be used to broadcast. We're going to buy a camera. At some point, that's going to cost us some money to do. We're going to do it here in January, February. It's going to happen. We're also going to be adding a screen up here and doing some work in the sanctuary so we can look this direction and not have everybody looking towards the screen. So we're going to spend a little bit of money there. You heard me talk about the building project of the fire suppression system. This winter time, we're going to be putting new outlets for building code and new doorknobs throughout the building. We have the money ready to do that. We're going to buy the doorknobs and just start slowly working through the winter to get that piece of it done. And then hopefully we'll come with real numbers at some point, February, I think, here's what it's going to cost us to put fire suppression, here's the money that we have, here's what we need to raise, and we'll go after it to try to get it done. And I'm very, very, I don't like to do that. The board knows I don't like to ask the church for money. We don't even take an offering, so we had to put a box up because I just don't think about money that much. But I do for so much for us to be connected to the community, to be able to offer opportunity for engagement here. We have to make it so we are above board, and the city's given us grace, and they said as long as we're making progress, you're good. We want to finish the progress and be done with it. And that's one of those things. So I want to remind you what our vision statement is and go through some of our core values for just a second. Our vision statement: Casper Alliance Church is a church committed to fighting forward together through hope in Jesus Christ. As a result of that fighting forward, that concept of like we're going to link arms with people, we want to be connected to people. One of our core values is without meaningful relationships, we're wrecked. And so part of a Sunday morning experience here at the church is connecting with people. And you've seen over the last 4 to 6 months, we've added number to the church. We want to continue to do that. We want to continue to connect because we believe in meaningful relationships, connecting with your neighbors and locking arms with them. The other part, one other vision statement is, and this is the fighting part, is that it takes work. It takes work, and that's a core value of who we are. That it's not just everything's put together and we're done, and like once you accept Christ, it's all good. There's work involved in following the Lord. There's tough days, there's good days, there's an effort that needs to take place for us to continue to grow. And that forward word in our vision statement, fighting forward together, we believe that there's always more. That the Spirit of God has more for us. That there's more for us to experience in Christ. There's more for us in our families. There's more for us for a church family. There's more people to be found to experience Jesus. And so, as part of understanding that, I'm gonna continue to talk about our core values, those 3, and our vision statement, because it needs to shape who we are. And when we understand that, like, we want to know this neighborhood behind us. We've driven through this neighborhood. There's some good houses. There's some rough houses. There's some tough stuff that goes on back there. I've taken Carter back. We mowed a lawn back there, and there's some rough things in that neighborhood. It's a great opportunity for us to connect and meet people. And it is the more passionate we get about fighting forward with people and locking arms with them, I just think that the more committed we get to, this is the mission and vision of our church. We have this unique voice, this unique kind of space right here in this community where we're sitting. So when we talk about, when somebody stands up, it'll be Mark, when he stands up and says, we need this amount of money to finish the fire suppression system, it's not because we just want to finish this fire suppression system. It's because we want to have the ability to have a Boys and Girls Club meet here that's connecting with this neighborhood back here. We want to call Boys and Girls Club and say, use our gym. Come here. And we'll have tutoring in this room if you want. And we got 2 or 3 volunteers that are going to do it. We want to have Child Evangelism Fellowship have a backyard Bible club here all summer long. And just use this space all summer. Run some VBSs here to where we just have kids through this building. We can't do that. And so that's why making the connection to vision with the things we have to do that are not necessarily like, it's a building, but we got to get it done. So those are some of the things that, like, if we continue to have our core values and our vision statement on our mind, it gives purpose to these little things that we do, and then the big things that we do. There's a party going on back there. It's okay. I'm used to it. Some of the things that we want to do, I want to spend some time as a group in here praying. And then, so online people, you can join us, or you can just say goodbye. We're going to pray for probably the next 6 to 16 minutes. I'm not sure how long it'll go. And but hey, we appreciate this church. We appreciate the love that this church has shown us. We love being here. We love Casper. This is our home. This is our city. And I can't wait until we can start having people in our house again, and life gets back to quasi-normal. I don't know if it'll ever be a normal again. It won't be. That's true. It was not ever normal before. So we're going to pray. And what I would like to do, and we're going to socially distance, but let's kind of huddle and turn in here. And online, I'm going to give some prayer directives. And so then you can pray in your huddle. So let's get grouped, maybe this side and then that side, and you can just turn and begin to pray. But I'll give a directive that this is how this is what we need to be praying for. And then at home, if you want to pray, but this is how we're going to pray in this room, all right? So the first thing I want us to be praying for is that we would have the heart of a missionary, which means that we figure out ways to share Jesus with people around us. That's the heart of a missionary. And so huddle up in here at home. If you want to pray, we're praying for us as a church family to have the heart of a missionary. And we'll take a couple minutes to do that. Finding ways to reach lost people for Jesus. I said that wrong. Finding ways to connect and build relationships so that we can have a long-term ability to disciple. So pray, people. Pray. I'm going to pray with you over here. Well, 2 of you have had COVID, so you're fine. Mark and I have not. We I know I hear Aaron praying. He's going to keep praying. Since it's a budget meeting, a business meeting, I'd like us to pray about being good stewards of our own finances personally and the church's finances. So, praying about stewardship. How do we become we want to be generous, but we want to be good stewards, personally and corporately. So, pray about stewardship, personal, church.
Prayerfully considering how to utilize the income and resources that you've given to us in ways that give life and show your goodness in this world and take care of our own responsibility that you've given us and facilitate being able to do what you ask us to participate in our lives. And as we grow in that individually, I pray that when we are here at this church building or as we are gathered together or even just considering ministry, that there will be this deeper sense of ownership and belonging, and if we see something, we have the ability to fix it or to do that. It would be like our second home, extended family, if we would extend that attitude of stewardship in that way. And I've asked you to lift up people as they come and become involved and they're spiritually fed and needs are met in this community. Believers here to also give up the resources and talents to help invest in this growing home.
Well, you got all the came from you. So as the church, individual, Father, I pray that you would just teach us as your people what that truly means. Father, I pray that you would teach us to trust you for all of our needs, Lord, and to equip me with guidance and for wisdom as we seek to honor you in giving back the things you've given us. Father, I just pray for this church. Specifically, Lord, I pray that you continue to protect this facility, continue to just watch over it and guide it, Lord. We thank you for sending people who can keep it running. And Lord, we just pray that you would continue to bless us with the ability to do your work. We just thank you for all that you give to us. We just desire to honor you.
The last thing we're going to pray for is, and we're going to close the meeting up, is what do we need to be attentive to? Whether it's attentive to a person in the church, attentive to a ministry in the church, attentive to the building itself, but like stir us up, Lord, to be attentive to the thing that you're calling us to be attentive to. There's a phrase that I've been using a lot recently is that we would never grow weary of praying for people. I want us to never grow weary of being attentive to the things that we're supposed to be attentive to. And I can't define that. There's obvious ones. But I think we need to pray for a spirit within us to step out and do the thing that God's calling us to do, or the thing that he puts on our heart, to be attentive. So we're going to say goodbye to the people watching online. That's the last thing we're going to pray for. What do we need to be attentive to?